TJ, have y'all been able to put the last game behind you? Obviously, a very dramatic finish and move on.
Yeah, for the most part, I believe we have. Uh, I've mentioned this many times before. No game is more important than our next game. So we just try to always put the past in the past and just focus on the next week.
You guys have had a lot of road success lately, but will that help as far as confidence level going in?
Uh, I don't think whether we're home or whether we're away is going to be a big factor in it. It's just going to be based off of the week of preparation that we put in.
TJ, I guess I know you lost, but how proud were you to see this team respond the way it did after the K-State game?
I was super proud, honestly, because all year we've been trying to fight to get to that point because we knew we were capable of doing it. Of course, it didn't end the way we wanted it to, but that comes whenever you play football. Sometimes you don't get the outcome you expect, but we kind of got to where we were clicking on all levels like we've been expecting to do all year, what we've been fighting to do all year.
You think this was maybe the closest y'all have gotten to that kind of level that you want to get to?
Yes, definitely.
TJ, what's it like for you to go through all the emotions that senior day brings and then still have two more games to play after that?
Honestly, I mean, it was a little sentimental. We got on the field, people were crying and stuff. I just kept telling everybody, let's cry after the game. Like, let's focus on the game first. We got like turn that pain you got right now into aggression. So I mean, like I said, we put the past in the past. So what? It's our last game. I mean, there's more to go. So that's what we're gonna focus on.
What is the motivation level like heading into this next one?
Just pretty much the same as it's always been. Just focus and try to be 1-1 or 1-0 in the week.
Is it tough at all with everything that's in? Obviously, you guys don't have classes, but you got Thanksgiving. People are going to see their families, and then you got a game right after that.
I mean, the focus is still where it needs to be. I mean, they've done a good job by making us practice in the morning, giving us the extra time in the evening to either get extra film or take care of our bodies, do anything that we need to do to be like our final preparation for the game. So that's a big help.
Defending Bijan, what impresses you about him, and how do you kind of contain him?
He's definitely one of those super agile running backs. He's gonna do stuff that we haven't seen yet from previous running backs. So I mean, just being able to watch the film and just getting everybody on the defense to the ball would be a huge help.
Y'all have played it. I mean, particularly this last stretch. It seems like y'all get one every week, doesn't it?
Yes, sir.
What's that been like trying to? So I could go through the names: Deuce Vaughn, Barrett Gray, all these guys.
It's just a lot of it is really putting, I wouldn't say the stress, but the importance on the D line to be gap sound, and inside the box linebackers being gap sound. So this week and the past few weeks we've been talking about staying in our primary gaps a little longer and then working to our secondary gaps once we know that the running back has declared which way he's going to go.
Is that the biggest difference between this last game and the K-State game?
Yes.
Maybe were y'all out of your gaps some?
I wouldn't say we were at our gaps, but with Deuce Vaughn being so shifty as he was, it was a lot of times that we would think he was going into our secondary gap, and then he would step to it and come into our primary gap after we released into our secondary gap. So our big focus has just been sitting in that primary gap.
You talked about defending the run, but Coach yesterday talked about how Quinn Ewers is kind of like two different guys when he's not under pressure and he can just stand there and kind of read the defense, and when you put a little bit of make it a little messy in there, how much importance for you is kind of making him feel uncomfortable?
Honestly, I would say that's probably the same with most collegiate quarterbacks. A lot of them don't have too much pressure in their face most of the time, but whenever they do, I mean, they get a little antsy back there. So I believe just getting in his face, moving him off his spot, making him uncomfortable would be a big deal in our game.
Well, Jacob, obviously a very tough loss last Saturday. Have y'all been able to put that behind now and move on?
Yeah. I think the time that we're given this week outside of classes has really helped us kind of find like really what we want out of this week. So just give us more time to reorganize and things like that.
And you don't have maybe the motivation of a Big 12 championship like last year. Where do you guys find the motivation when you kind of already know, regardless of whether or not you win on Friday, you're going to be able to go?
Yeah, I mean, that's something we've been talking about all week, and I think the thing we've really come back to is that this is another chance for us to prove ourselves. Everybody that's kind of still been doubting us all season after the start or after any loss that we've had, this is still another chance to prove to everybody the team that we actually are.
Did you feel like you did that, even though you lost? Did you feel like you did that this past week, the way you responded? The way you played?
Yeah, I mean, you try and do it every week. You try and prove to everybody what kind of team we are. And, I mean, you really know what team you are inside the team. Not everybody else is going to know that, and you have to show that every week. I mean, despite the result, they're a good team. I think we showed glimpses of what we really can be. Maybe not 100%, because I think 100%, I think we win that game. But I think we showed glimpses, definitely.
I was just asked, you guys have been so good, especially the past 2 years, in those game-killing drives of just running it down. What was different in the last 2 drives against TCU?
Yeah, I mean, we did it against Oklahoma 2 weeks prior to that. It's just different for every team. You know, sometimes it goes your way, sometimes it doesn't. All it takes right there is just one play, and then you're behind the sticks, you're behind everything. So I think that's really what it is. It comes down to the one play. It's either that first down, the second down, the third down. You got to get it at some point. But you just get unlucky sometimes. People trip, you miss ID, someone makes a good play. It's just how it is.
Blake is a young quarterback, still learning. He's had a few ups and downs.
Mm-hmm.
How do you feel like he's kind of handled things this year?
Yeah, I think he's a super resilient kid. Despite anything that happens to him, I think he just comes out here with the same mentality every day. And I think that's a great tribute to have, especially being a quarterback, to come out here despite anything that happens, good or bad. I think he's super consistent.
It's been a while since this team has played in Austin with a full capacity crowd. What do you guys expect to see on Friday?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's obvious to everybody. People are going to be off, so it's gonna be a Friday. So like families are going to be off, fans are going to be like off work and things like that. So it's going to be packed, 11 a.m. I think the guys are ready. I mean, it's probably no bigger than Oklahoma or something like that, or it's not going to be probably louder than BYU or other stadiums like that. So I think we're ready.
You mentioned some of those other stadiums you've played in. You guys have had that road success
Mm-hmm.
over the past couple of games. What was that big adjustment that took you guys from the road losses at BYU and West Virginia and allowed you guys to have success?
Yeah, I mean, you really use those losses to learn something. You learn something from each of those losses on the road, and you kind of figure yourself out and really your process and how you're going to get things done the next time. I think that's really what we just learned something from those, and we took it and we just kept going with it.
Do you have a sense of confidence going on the road because y'all had some success?
I mean, for me, I can't speak for the whole team, but for me, I have the same confidence at home as I do away. Nothing really changes. I think some guys do get a confidence about being away. You know, you're by yourself, your back's against the wall, things like that. So I can definitely see that, how there's a lot of guys who do feel like that. But for me, football is football, you're home or away.
Jacob, I know you've only been here a couple of years, but what was senior day like for you just to go through that?
Yeah, it was fun. Obviously, you want to get the result and things like that. But yeah, it was fun having the family there, everybody on the field and things like that. All the seniors honored. I think we had a ton of seniors this year, so it was great to be out there with everybody. But yeah, it was a great experience.
Is there anything to be said about the fact that you kind of have like that behind you, maybe an emotional release with that? You don't have to worry about senior day, and now you guys just get to play. Is that?
Yeah, I mean, we tried to downplay the emotional aspect of senior day because you don't want to be too high, you don't want to be too low going into any game. So senior day was fun. We don't want to try to upplay it or downplay it or anything like that for emotional energy or things like that. So I guess, yeah, being past it is good, but we tried not to focus on it too much when it did come.
Thank you, Jake.
Thank you, Jeff.
Thanks, guys.
You too.